There we go, it's live. Hi everybody, it's Margaret. Welcome to my channel, Homeschool Honey. I am coming to you today with a video with ideas for you, whether you are a homeschool mom and dad or parent already, or if you are being forced to have your kids at home because of what's been going on in our country or wherever you are in the world. I've been homeschooling for just over 2 years now, and I was a public school teacher for 14 years before I started homeschooling. So that's neither here nor there because most of the families I know that homeschool were not public school teachers first. But I just thought I would put it out there. So, as you know, if you're probably watching this, and I am live, so if you're watching live, go over in the chat and say hello, and we can bounce ideas off each other as well. And I will say, after the video, if you've got more ideas for what to do, whether you're a homeschooler already or you're quarantined at home or having to self-isolate, ideas to keep things interesting with your kids so you don't all go stir crazy at home. So, I guess let me just start by saying you can get through this. You can do this. I know some places schools have canceled already, and they've canceled for a month out. They haven't in all the areas where I am. I'm in Texas, but the governor has talked about it, canceling school until the end of the school year, which would leave kids, I mean, it hasn't happened yet, but it's all up in the air. And so I thought I would go ahead and do this. So let's jump into it. So even though I'm a homeschooler, we do a lot of things outside the home. I think we only have maybe 1.5 days we're fully at homeschooling all the time because we have outside classes, we've got groups that we do things with, we've got therapies, so we're constantly on the go. And not until just lately have we realized how much we get out and how much we do with our friends that are also homeschoolers. So the first thing I would suggest that if you're able to, depending on where you live and depending on the restrictions where you are, if you're able to get outside, whether you have a backyard or whether you're able to, take walks with your immediate family, your kids, then I would suggest do that. We're trying to do it once, if not twice a day. Of course, we're expecting rain now the rest of the week, but bike rides, if you're able. It depends on what the restrictions are in your area. Another thing is a lot of the nature preserves around us haven't closed. So that's another thing that I've thought about us doing once the weather clears up is, driving to a place where we can walk trails. Because then you're out in the open, there's not big groups of people. And again, restrictions may change and they might tell people that they have to stay home. So until that happens, if I'm able to get the kids out moving as much as I can, then that's one of the priorities that I'm going to put on us. Also, if you're a public school kid or family that's now homeschooling, my biggest suggestion is to not try to replicate public school at home because it is, and this is for homeschoolers too. When I first started homeschooling, that was a big challenge for me. You quickly realize that you don't have to try to cram all the stuff they do in public school or even the hours, because there's a lot of other things that go on in public school besides the educational portion. So if you really took out all the extraneous things that happen in the school day, you're really left with just a few hours, 3 maybe, of serious work that the kids are doing. 3 or 4 maybe. So trying to fit in an 8-9 hour school day at home is just going to make everybody miserable. Yeah. So hi, I in the chat. Honestly, Jen says, hi, I've been getting calls and questions from friends and family asking what to do. So thanks for this. Yeah, I have too. And I've actually had a few friends who were on the fence about homeschooling who felt like this is the push that they needed to just start, right? So that being said, yeah, I mean, if there are requirements at your school, if your school is sending things or having video classes, then of course, take care of that business. But there are other ways to learn and ways to make it interesting. I mean, even animals in zoos that are in cages, they try to give them puzzles and activities to keep their minds from just going stagnant and crazy. So that's kind of the direction I'm going here. You don't want your kids to turn into caged animals, because then they'll be in the cage with you and you'll regret it. You will be miserable. Everybody will be miserable. Okay, so here's what I've got on my list, and if you think of more things, then please leave the comments down below. So the first thing is adulting lessons. So we're going to be doing some sort of cooking activity probably every day, sewing, and that doesn't necessarily have to be with a sewing machine. If you have, my kids enjoy pieces of felt, scraps of fabric, and just hand sewing things and making little creations and stuffing them with whatever, So that, home repairs, what got me thinking about this was that we have a toilet up here that was broken. So I thought, you know what, let's go to Home Depot this morning before everything really gets shut down. Let's buy what we need to fix this toilet. So that got me thinking while we were there, like, what else could we get that will keep us at home, And so with that being said, many hardware stores, Home Depot, Lowe's, if you go to the lumber section in the back, there's usually a big bin with like cast off lumber or lumber that's been cracked or had too many knots in it or things like that. And then they mark that down 70% off. So we got 8 or 9 pieces of lumber from that bin because we could get it for cents. For the kids to come home, and then we could learn about sanding and sawing and nailing and like then create things with this wood. So again, adulting stuff, right? So another thing as far as adulting, depending on where you are and what you find important for your family, is like how to use different tools. And my kids are not quite old enough to learn to change a tire yet, but you might have older kids that could use a lesson in how to change a tire. Learning first aid, that's something that everyone can learn in different situations. Sorry, okay, so another thing, I'm looking at my notes over here. Another thing to consider outside of schoolwork is to have the kids start doing things that maybe they didn't have time to work on before, interests that they've had that when they're in public school, they haven't had time to really dive into. And this is true for homeschool kids too. We get so busy that we maybe don't get the opportunity to do as much of that. So, for example, my kids love doing stop animation, and just FYI, for moms and dads at home, stop animation can take up a big chunk of time. So if you're really wanting to get your kids like busy on something that they're into, that's going to keep them busy on something, then stop animation might be something cool, because to get a very short video, it takes a lot of time. Move, picture, move, picture, move. So I'm going to give you that little tidbit. And I forgot to mention this at the beginning. I also am self-employed, so I work from home. So this is, if you're now working from home and having to do all of this, then that's another aspect of it. So try, if you're able to, if you're working from home now, to segment your day. Like, I'm able to get a chunk of work done in the morning, focus on the kids and stuff with them, get a chunk done in the midday, kind of like now, then get a chunk done with the kids, and then focus on work. So I can chunk my work up throughout the day. So again, I'm not like going nuts, because if you have to sit and work for 6 straight hours, your kids are gonna keep coming in. They're gonna keep getting bored. They're gonna keep, well, I need what now. So like if you can chunk it up, get them busy on something while you're working, then do something together, if that's a possibility. Because otherwise, I couldn't get, 4 to 6 hours of work done straight. There's no way with the kids. Okay, so another thing, because you want to try to keep them engaged and interested, is giving them different challenges. And online you can find a million STEM or STEAM challenges with common household objects, or like escape the room type puzzles. There's a bunch of stuff like that online. Teachers Pay Teachers has a lot of stuff like that, but there's plenty of free stuff, so you probably wouldn't even need that. Hi Paula in the chat, thank you for saying hey. The next thing is to consider a theme. So let's say, who knows how many weeks we're going to be at this point. Consider a theme for the week. Like before, this is our spring break. So before spring break, we'd started space. And we were going to start with our solar system, the planets and things like that. And then we were going to branch off into asteroids, meteors, blah, 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 blah. And so if you find a focus area, then you can start looking for art, music, science activities, cooking activities, anything, any kind of gross motor, fine motor, all kinds of things that focus around one key area. And that also kind of helps keep the mind engaged with that. So I put exploring sites, music about space, documentaries, creating space art, and then like gravity races, well, you're going to land this Mars rover, but you can't have it come down too fast, so whether you've got chairs to stand on or something like, just different things. And so things where they have to also think like, okay, what can I use from around the house? We did something like this around Valentine's Day where they had to make something to hold little conversation hearts, and they had to make it go from the table to the ground, but it couldn't get there too quick because it would spill, and so they had to figure out, well, they found an index card and they made a little thing, and try not to give them too much guidance, like use these things, because then they have to get creative, and that's when it's going to get interesting. For better or worse, depending on your kids and their creativity. Something else fun would be scavenger hunts around the house. I thought about, we did this a while back. It was like a forensics, like our theme was all forensics, so where it's like something goes missing in the house, and then there's fingerprints, and then there's like a mystery. Just something like that to make it fun and interesting. It does take a little prep work, but it's fun for everybody. And then I have some pictures I'm going to show you. So sometimes we'll do random challenges. Oh, this is for my sewing thing. This was this was a while back. I made the kids these fish and used washers, like a little magnetic fish thing. This was just ideas. Where'd my thing go? I was going to show you some other stuff. Hang on, I've lost my screen. There it is. It's hiding from me. So there's that. This is just if you wanted to have them practice sewing or make a little fishing game. Oh, okay, boxes. So they started making houses for the cats out of boxes, and this was going to be like what was this one? A food truck. It was a food truck, but it went further. I didn't have pictures to share with you right now for that. Oh, this is for an idea for younger ones. If you've got little ones and they're learning about, emotions and things like that, you could give them an emotion, an expression. And little ones always like seeing pictures of themselves. Show me a picture of a surprise, click. Show me a picture of, and then making a little collage of their faces with all the different emotions. And it's lots of fun for them. So, and it's lots of fun for me too. Okay, so this was the stop animation that they were doing. This was when we were doing videography with our 4-H club. But this was just another idea that I thought would be fun. A fun idea is to pull out your Christmas lights, set up. They were using like Thomas the Train type tracks. Pardon me. Allergies are bad, okay? The pollen is real. And then it gives another added element of fun with the Christmas lights, and the lights are turned down, and then they're having to move and take pictures, and things like that for their videography. Okay, and then, so this is one of the challenges I was talking about. Pardon me. I need to take some Benadryl. It's now, if any cough, it doesn't matter what it is, somebody's gonna, anyway. Okay, so a while back we were studying penguins. That was our big overarching thing. And so I gave the kids toilet paper tubes, and I said, these are penguins, go. And so they had to go, and I didn't tell them anything else. These are penguins, go do it. So they made these penguins, right, out of the toilet paper tubes. And then after that, I said, oh, I forgot. Once they made them, I forgot. Your penguins have learned to fly. So now you need to make them ready to fly. They need to be able to fly. So then they went and had to go like adjust what they made to make them be able to fly. And so then I showed them, so I only gave them a little bit of the information at a time, because then they had to think about the next thing to do. They had to think how to adjust and work and pivot and things. So while they were working on that, I came out and strung fishing line. I'm not sure if you can see that. And the problem was, well, I thought it was a problem, but they were able to actually work around it, was I was thinking that the toilet paper tube would, the line, they would sit through the tube and they would fly down like that. But I strung the line and then realized, oh, oops, now what? But they were really inventive, and they hooked onto they had to hook things onto the back of the penguins to make them fly. They used, what do you call them, paper clips. So they had to keep continually pivot and think, oh, well, now that's not going to work. Mom already strung the things up. I got to find another way. So it really made it interesting throughout the day, all the different pivots they had to make and all the adjustments and the tweaks that they had to make going along. And we did something like that later. We were learning, I do have it. We were learning about, and again, these are just ideas to kind of give you a sense of how you can keep them busy and engaged and learning. Another thing that we did a while back was we were learning about, it was knights. It was a book we were reading. That's what it was. And there was a joust in the book. And so I told the kids, you've got these balloons. We're going to have a joust. And your balloons are the target. So go figure out how you're going to make this happen, right? So they got to talking, and then I realized pretty quickly that I needed to give them another piece of the information. And the next part of the information was, you can't use your hands. So I thought that they were going to kind of go in the same direction as the penguin activity we had done before, where they would have lines and then the balloons were going to, I don't know, anyway, use propellers for the air, blah, blah, blah. But instead, they went in a whole different direction, which was just really amazing. And I'm not saying, well, I thought it was cool. But anyway, my whole point is to try to not give the kids too much information, because you'll be surprised at how much they come up with outside of, if you give them too many parameters, you might miss the creativity, So they ended up using remote control cars and skewers for their joust. So that's what that was. So yeah, you can make it really entertaining and fun for the kids. Let's see. So there was that. So another thing is just free creation. Like, give them felt, thread, buttons, fabric, whatever, and just let them go to town with it. Cheap pieces of wood, cardboard boxes. And then another thing is to learn classic games like marbles and things. And if you look online, there's a million games you can play with marbles. So there's, a ton you can do with that. Even making marble runs out of toilet paper tubes, or there's just really a lot. And there's a lot more academics that go into it than you might think. So yeah. So those are some of the ideas that I had for you guys to try to stay sane and keep the kids engaged and learning, and not just like in front of a screen or in front of, pencil, paper, and because yeah, it's super easy to download worksheets off the internet, but your kids are not going to thank you for it. And you're probably all going to be pretty miserable at the end of it. So these are just some ways and ideas for keeping sanity during this time. And I hope everything goes well for your families, and I hope everyone stays well in your world. And yeah, leave a comment and let me know any other ideas that you have or things you've done that you think might work for others. And check out the comment section and see what other people have left. And I'll see you guys later. I'm going to try to check in more often now that we're all homeschooling together. I can't find my off button, so I'm stalling now. What do you do if you can't find the stop button? You stall for time. There it is. Okay. Have a really great afternoon and stay safe out there, everybody. Bye.